We'll be starting in approximately 2 minutes. If you've been to my event, I start on time, I end on time. Candidates, please make your way to the stage.
Test, test, test. Test. Yeah, this one.
Well, good evening, everybody. Let's try that again. I must have said that in Swahili that time. Good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for being with us here tonight, and welcome to the Springdale Church. My name is Pastor Timothy Taylor. I'm the senior pastor here at the Springdale Church, and we are so happy to have you here with us and have all of our candidates here with us. Matter of fact, put your hands together for all of our candidates that are here tonight. Figured I better hurry up and get up here because Ian was looking at me and side-eyeing me, telling me we had to start on time, but he must have forgot I was the pastor. We'd like to do something around the Springdale Church called Spread the Love. So why don't you shake somebody's hand next to you and let them know that you're glad that they are here with us tonight, that are joining us. We are thankful that you made it out tonight. And I'm glad that you're here because it is so important that we are informed. And it's important that we hear from our candidates and not hear the word from the street or from your cousin that probably don't even vote. So I'm glad that you are here tonight so you can get the right information and hear the hearts of these candidates. And before we get started tonight, it is always wise that we have a word of prayer. Amen? Father, it's indeed always right to give you thanks and to give you praise. Lord, we thank you so much for allowing us to come out here tonight and bringing us together. We thank you for traveling mercies, getting across the city to get here to North Memphis. Lord, we thank you for this opportunity we have to come and hear the hearts of these candidates. Lord, please help us to have open minds and open hearts tonight to receive, and help us to make our own decision about who will best meet our needs as a candidate for this position. Lord, we ask you to help us to understand that we are in the Lord's church, and we are still to respect and honor the Lord's church. Lord, we thank you for those that put this event together tonight. Lord, we give you praise and thank you. In Jesus' name, amen.
Hello, everybody. Hello, everybody. I'm Ian Randolph. I'm the chair of the Political Action Committee for the NAACP, and I also run the Shelby County Voter Alliance. So we want to thank those two organizations for allowing us to be here tonight, or working with us to be here tonight, along with Coalition of 100 Black Women. I'll pick up where the pastor left off. Realize where you are, and please respect God's space. On behalf of all of us, again, I'd like to thank Pastor Taylor for allowing us to be here this evening. In the last election, 4 years ago this time, the turnout was 11%. 11%. So 90% of the people in this county left it up to 11% of the people in this county to choose who is running this. So when you hear people say they already know what they gonna do, no they don't. Them people probably didn't even vote. Elections have consequences. We've seen that very recently. On a federal level, on a state level, on a local level, and in our school board. We need to start looking at our candidates seriously. The people we elect need management skills. They need demonstrated leadership skills. They need demonstrated work in our community. And we need to remember that the people that we elect are a reflection of us. So if you don't like what your elected official is doing in your particular district, you need to look at yourself, because y'all helped put them in office. So tonight, I want you to pay attention to the answers that they give. Not only in this particular forum, but in any forum that you attend. It's school board, judges that may be up, in your federal elections, and in your county commission seats. Pay attention. Do they actually answer the question that is put before them? Do they know what they are talking about? And lastly, I'm gonna be street. Don't let them play in your face. So with that said, I'm going to turn it over to our very beautiful moderator, Ms. Deidre Malone.
Thank you, Ian. Good evening, everybody. As Ian said, I'm Deidre Malone. I'm the first vice president of the NAACP Memphis branch. I am president of the National Women's Political Caucus. I am a former Shelby County Commissioner and a former Democratic nominee for Shelby County Mayor. So let me just say that I was not the first choice to do this. Not the second choice, but the third. But it is my pleasure to be here with you to moderate this mayoral discussion tonight. I want to thank our candidates for agreeing to be here tonight. I want to thank the audience for being here tonight. I want to thank our community partners for being here tonight. And before we get started, I want to acknowledge the NAACP Executive Committee, Memphis branch. Please stand. Our Shelby County Voter Alliance, please stand. Thank you so much for having this forum tonight. You know, Shelby County is at a pivotal moment, from public safety and economic development to education funding to healthcare and infrastructure. The decisions made in the next 4 years will shape the future of our county for generations. Tonight's debate will focus on experience applicable to the job and what candidates have to offer in terms of potential solutions for the growth and long-term stability for Shelby County. Here are our ground rules. Each candidate will have 2 minutes for opening and closing remarks. Each candidate will have 90 seconds to answer initial questions. Rebuttals will be limited to 45 seconds. Please address the audience, not each other. We're not going to be contentious tonight. Time limits will be enforced to ensure fairness. Ian Randolph is going to be monitoring the time, so pay close attention to him. So, candidates for Shelby County Mayor participating tonight. Mr. Melvin Burgess is here. Harold Collins is here. Heidi Kuhn is here. Mikhail Lowry is here. Randy Quarles is here. And J.B. Smiley is here. All candidates, just so you know, were invited to participate in this forum, and these are the ones that RSVP'd and could be here tonight, right? Each candidate right now will have 2 minutes to participate and give their opening remarks. And so what I'd like to ask, though, is, and answer this as a part of your 2 minutes, why are you running for Shelby County Mayor, and what qualifies you to lead at this moment in time. And we'll start with you, Mr. Smiley.
Good evening. So glad to be here with you all. And I do want to take a point of personal privilege. It is indeed an honor to be here with family as the former treasurer of the Memphis branch of the NAACP. I'm J.B. Smiley Jr. I'm the son of J.B. Smiley Sr. My father would consistently say, let your yes be yes and your no be no. What he was attempting to tell me is you have to believe in what you're saying, but also have conviction. Be willing to stand up and fight for people. That's why when the Republicans in the State House continued to put guns in our community, I stood and I fought for gun reform. But no one on this stage was standing with me. That's why when it was time to push back against Donald Trump and his National Guard, I sued him. But no one on this stage stood with me. That's just on Monday, when it's time to support library workers so they can have workplace protections. I stood with many of you, but no one on this stage stood with me. And now that it's time to run for mayor, they want you to believe that they're going to stand for you. When they ask you for your vote, I have one question that you should ask them. Where were you? There's no question where I've been. I've been standing with you every step of the way. The reason that I am qualified to lead or serve the people of Shelby County right now, because we have people in the State House and the White House who don't care for our community. In this particular time, we need someone who's gonna stand for us every single day. And we have no doubt that J.B. Smiley will stand for you. I'm J.B. Smiley Jr., and I hope to earn your vote today. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Smiley. Mr. Collins.
Good evening, everyone. To Pastor Taylor, who just moved to our great city and county, welcome. It was good to be here when you were being introduced to the community. To Pastor Lee Brown, we know how his legacy lives on in this particular community. And to all the vineyard workers here at Springdale. I'm Harold Collins. I am the Chief Administrative Officer for Shelby County Government. I am the 11th child of a cab driver for 51 years and a homemaker who never worked out of the house. We all went to Catholic schools. My daddy would get up every morning at 6 a.m. and drive that cab, pick us up at 8 o'clock, take us to school, pick us up from school at 3:15. Mama would have dinner on the table at 3:30. We do our homework. Daddy take a nap, get up at 6 o'clock, and be back in the street working for his family. That's the work ethic I know. As a young college intern, I worked in a 24-hour clerk's office, not midnight to 8. After graduation, I worked in Bubba Blackwell's office in the criminal court, clerking for Judge Fred Axley. 4 years later, I went into private business as a small business owner, operating private probation firms, supporting men and women who got released from prison. Today, I am the second in charge of our county, managing a $1.6 billion budget, 6,000 employees, 45 retirees, and a $1.7 billion pension fund. Why am I qualified? Because I do it every day. This is what we do day in and day out, working with working men and women day in and day out, answering the questions of our community day in and day out, providing resources day in and day out. I'm Harold Collins, and I ask for your vote, and I ask for your prayers.
Thank you, Mr. Collins. Mrs. Kuhn.
Good evening, everyone. I want to thank Springdale for hosting NAACP and Voter Alliance for pulling this together. So I have worked in county government for over 25 years, and I have seen what leadership has done and where it falls short. And I truly believe that Shelby Countyans want a mayor who will deliver, not promises, but results. And in the 25 years, I have shown results. And it has been my heart and my mind to work on social justice and inequality. And I have started doing that when I started my journey with the Shelby County Health Department, reducing adolescent pregnancy. I then was the executive director of the Crime Victim Center, assisting women in domestic violence situations and helping individuals who had lost loved ones to homicide. After that, I showed results as the Deputy Director of Community Services over all victim and offender services, as well as Veterans Affairs and the Aging Commission. After that, I showed results when I became the Director of Training, creating a training program from concept to fully operational status for the 5,000 employees in Shelby County government. And then I showed results when I worked at the Sheriff's Office as the lead strategist and special assistant to the Sheriff, reducing the opioid epidemic within the jail, as well as providing mental health programs. And then when you elected me in 2018 and 2022 as your criminal court clerk, I showed results not only as the record keeper, but making sure that I assisted the community with getting an expungement. 10,000 expungements we've done. I am not here to manage a decline. I am here to build a future. I'm Heidi Kuhn, and I'm asking for your vote.
Thank you, Mrs. Kuhn. Mr. Burgess.
Good evening. Good evening.
Good evening.
All right. My name is Melvin Burgess, and I am not new to this district, District 7. Former county commissioner over here, over in District 7. And I see one of my esteemed colleagues when I was on the county commission time, Commissioner Henry Brooks. But I am Melvin Burgess, former county commissioner on the Finance Committee, Budget Committee 2 years, served 2 terms. I also worked 30 years with the Shelby County, well, Memphis City Schools, Shelby County Schools. I retired from there as the head auditor or the chief auditor for the district. Currently, I am the assessor of property. Now, let's get this straight before we get going. I am not the reason that your taxes go up. That's a county commission issue, or that's a tax rate issue. But what I did do as your assessor of property was, I made sure that those rates did stay down, and also I made sure that when you came to that office, when you called my office, we give you #1 A service in that office. That was the reason why I became the assessor of the year, not just for the state of Tennessee, for the entire state, and West Tennessee, where I just received a lifetime award, which has never been received in this county, a lifetime achievement award in my office. And that was because I introduced the 2-year reappraisal, meaning that we want to get more frequent reappraisal. And I went against some of the big companies like FedEx, because if we did the 2-year reappraisal, you wouldn't have to pay the sales ratio. But we fought that to let them know that we're watching. And my motto in my office has always been, we value people over property. With my experience, I got over 40 years of experience. I did hear the CAO talk about, what he managed and all of the above, but some reason we still can't get a state-approved budget. During my time on the county commission, Commissioner Brooks, we approved every budget that we did come before us. That is why bold leadership, that is why you want to vote for Melvin Burgess. Let's get things done. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Burgess. Mr. Lowry.
Thank you so much, Pastor NAACP. Thank you all for having us, and thank you all for being here, for being engaged. That's what it's about. We need engaged public. But again, my name is Mikhail Lowry, and I'm running for county mayor because I want to see a county where all of our children have opportunity. I want to see, let's change the culture of our county. I want to see where we can have people have opportunity and access to jobs, and that we're really leaning into our educational system. I want to see a county to where people are thriving and people feel safe and feel like they can build a family here. That's why I'm running at the end of the day. I'm running so my daughters can choose Shelby County as a place they call home. I'm the only person up here who has children that are currently in our school system, so it's personal for me. It's personal for when me and my wife send our children to school every day. I want a county that's really leaning into mental health and not just talking about it. That's personal for me as well. I have a daughter that has autism, and I know what it's like to see her go from school to school and try to find the right fit. Our parents shouldn't have that type of problem at all. We need a county mayor who's leaning into that. We need a county mayor who's focused on creating jobs for our county, because we have a poverty issue here. And the way we equate poverty, eradicate poverty, is give people opportunity. And quite frankly, give them a job where they can pay for their families to hopefully have a good life in Shelby County. I didn't just grow up in government. I've been a county commissioner for 8 years. I'm proud of things we've accomplished there. But I tell all of you all, I have a start at FedEx, but I started loading and unloading boxes in the transportation industry, and now I'm an executive in that business. I lead a team across 7 different states, $600 million in revenue. Now, when you think about that, you're hiring someone to do a job. Let's not hire somebody that's never managed a budget a day in their life. Let's not hire somebody for a job that's never had an employee a day in their life. We need economic development right here in our county, and we need a leader that has the experience to get it done. These major developments that we're talking about happening in our county, I sat on the county commission and got it done. Not talk about what my plans are, what your vision are. I'm talking about actually got it done. And I thank you all, and I look forward to the conversation. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Mr. Lowry. Mr. Quarles.
Good afternoon, everybody. That was kind of weak. Can we get a good afternoon, everybody? I want to give honor to the angel of the house and everybody that's in the community, the NAACP, for giving me a chance and an opportunity. You know, I was coming up here, and I told my wife it's home to me. You know, right over there off of Hollywood and Pearson. You know, we always do backpack giveaways, food drives, those type of things. But that we do from our heart, not because it's our job. You know, you'll hear a lot about positional titles up here today. You know, I could stand up here and say, you know, when I was general manager, building boats and barges and doing those type of things, or working in logistics, you know, fighting for a better pay rate for just temporary workers or everybody across the board, you know, or building from the bottom up to make sure everybody got a feasible bonus. You know, but I'm standing up here to tell you where I come from, the heart. You know, my heart tells me to drive to be able to help build the community, because if you came from nothing, then you understand the struggle. You know, I come from a poverty-stricken area. You know, I rose up from out of that. And I just want to be able to be a beacon for somebody else that think that they can't do it, and to know that they can if they apply themselves, and to understand that there's still opportunity here in Shelby Drive. You know, just left a parents-teacher conference because I do have 2 kids that's still inside of the school system. You know, and being able to partner with them and listen to the teachers and listen to some of their heartburns and their pinch point. You know, talking to the community, how we need to have affordability in the communities, how we need to have better housing, you know, better surroundings for our kids to be able to grow up into. And so I am Rusty Quarles, and I'm running for Shelby County Mayor to be able to bring some of the changes that we all want here in Shelby County.
Thank you, Mr. Quarles. Next question, Mr. Quarles, keep the mic. Shelby County faces income inequity and persistent poverty. What specific industries will you prioritize for growth, and how will you ensure those jobs benefit residents across the entire county?
So that's easy. I live that. You know, me and my wife is a small business owner. And so we need to strengthen our small business owner here in Shelby County, because that is the backbone. And so we got to be able to, you know, open up some of those and not just put so many stipulations on the hardworking people that's trying to build a better Shelby County through small business. I know we look at bringing, you know, big box businesses here, but do they have the core value? Do they understand what it means to be inside of Shelby County? And I work with some of those guys, and those principles are not the same values that we tote. And so we got to learn how to be able to help strengthening a small business, having those jobs, having them honest training to be able to develop the future. And so we got to be able to help build, to bring the people out of poverty. You know, my focus is thinking it's to small business.
Thank you. Mr. Lowry, would you like to go next?
Yes, thank you. So you do have to create the next, and I agree with that as well. We have to lean in. The small business are the lifeblood of our county. They really employ more people at the end of the day. There's nothing wrong with attracting large companies. I just told you I work for one. But at one point, FedEx was a startup. AutoZone was a startup. International Paper was a startup. We got to create the next in our environment right here. But we also have to lean in to our educational system to make sure that we're creating a culture for cradle to career environment. So certain industries that we would target. The medical science is obviously going to be one that's big for us. Again, we're building a trauma center right here in our county, a new trauma center. We got to lean to that as well. But we also got to look at just technical jobs, things of that nature as well for our high schools. We got to have some people who, again, who may not be going to college, but understand they can have a career to give them the technical skills as well. That's the lifeblood of small businesses, and that's the lifeblood of our county, to make sure that people have opportunity no matter where they are.
Mr. Burgess.
Yes. As your assessor, even though I'm running for county mayor, we always made a way to make sure that we adhere and talk with our small business when it comes to their personal property taxes. They were always concerned with that. However, education is the key. But we are not getting the proper formula from the state to educate our kids to be able to get good jobs. There's a formula called BEP, Basic Education Program. Now it's called TISA, Tennessee Education System Student Investment. Until that formula is right, we're not getting the funds that we need to educate our kids. And we talk about small businesses. How are we going to create those jobs for those kids who don't have the resources? You are short funding at the county commission level, at the state level. We fought for that, Commissioner Brooks, when I was on the county commission. I don't know if it's being fought for now for the commissioners that are on the commission now, but we're missing their funding from the state, right? And other thing is this, I always talk, when I came back to Memphis, people always talk about Atlanta. We used to be like Atlanta this, Atlanta that. Until we have bold leadership and include people of color in some of these positions to get small business, to make money in our communities, it is not gonna happen. I have bold leadership to make this happen, not just a lot of talk.
Thank you, Mr. Burgess. Ms. Kuhn? And you all can sit down and be comfortable, unless you just want to stand up.
I'm going to start that, yes. You don't want to hear us go up and down and up and down. Okay, thank you for that question. When we talk about economic development, what we don't want to do is constantly dangle the carrot to larger corporations to try and bring them into Shelby County. What we need to do is ensure that our small businesses are thriving first, because how are we going to entice large corporations to come here if we don't even have a thriving community? Something that I would like to create is something called empowerment zones. Empowerment zones are going to include affordable housing for individuals, possibly to get loans, would be $5,000 that we could get from the opioid abatement program, so that it would be forgivable loans for down payments. Then we could get EDGE, who could give small businesses loans so that they could flourish. And then we want to make sure that our educational system is strong, because these empowerment zones, once we start that, we can take that through Shelby County. And when our neighborhoods are shining, the entire Shelby County will shine.
Then I'll let you refute after everybody speaks, okay? Go ahead. Here.
I think the question was about, as county mayor, what would you do about income, equity, and poverty, correct?
Yes. No, yes.
Yes,
Yes,
income,
absolutely.
equity, and poverty.
Yes, that's
Right,
correct.
Right. Well, first of all, I think I might be the only one on here who ever owned and operated a small business. I woke them up, didn't I? I woke them up. Where we put together and we
Fish business, fry fish.
We operated and we put about 16, 17 people to work here in Shelby County, making sure that payroll was being done and that families were being taken care of with benefits. That's where you start, small business. I agree with most everybody on this panel with that. The other piece is you have to be creative about recognizing who your customer is. In Shelby County, we know that many of our citizens live in poverty. And so therefore, it is up to us to create opportunities for them to do that. One, we are building a new Regional 1 hospital because that's what we did in the room. We made the proposal, the county commission approved it. We are building a new high school in Fraser, and that is helping people, small businesses, to get their opportunities.
Wrap it up, Mr. Collins.
Oh, I gotta stop.
Yeah.
Sorry.
All right, thank you. Mr. Smiley?
There's been a lot of talk about what we would do. I'm not going to tell you about what I would do. I'm going to tell you about what I've done. So as a member of the Memphis City Council and a small business owner, actually I own two, Smiley and Associates and S&F Unlimited, we understood the desperate need of businesses when they go through hard times. And if you run a small business, you know there's ebbs and flows. But when it gets difficult, there's no one for you to call for support, because with government, all we do is support large businesses. I'm gonna tell you what we've done. We created the initial seed money in partnership with the Black Chamber, which led to the creation of the Small Business Booster Program. That is a program that is going on right now because I thought it important enough to support small businesses in the community. Those small businesses are able to go to the Black Chamber, get 7 weeks of technical training, and at the end of the 7 weeks of technical training, they get a grant, because we all need support. As your next Shelby County Mayor, we're gonna create something similar, the Small Business Accelerator. We're gonna focus on those entities that have been around 12 to 24 months. They're gonna invest directly back into the community and hire people so that they can scale up. Shelby Smiley for County Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Smiley. Mr. Burgess, did you want to refute?
Yes, I'd just like to add to what Clerk Coon said about Empowering Zone, which I think is a great idea. But as the assessor, I want you all to know this. Most of the blight, we have over 6,000 properties in the land bank that's owned by Shelby County. Need to get out of the land bank business. So we're talking about affordable housing, new housing. Why not look at those houses that are already blighted as we speak? It's not fair to y'all, because those same houses, when you try to go to the bank, it brings your property values down. But those blighted properties that you live by or around the corner from, do you know who paid for it on your taxes? You do.
Thank you, Mr.
So,
Burgess.
thank you,
45 seconds. Thank you. Next question. As mayor of Shelby County, you appoint members to the EDGE board that works to recruit companies to the area and offer tax incentives to attract new businesses to Shelby County. How will you measure return on investment, and what accountability standards with companies receiving public funds you think need to be required? Mr. Collins?
First of all, we measure who serves on these boards by their level of experience, because you're hiring a county mayor who has the experience to do the job as well. So why not submit those same persons to the same criteria? Second of all, regarding return on investment, the way I see it is we give these corporations pilots and limited equities. What that means is you get a 15-year pilot, but you break it up into 3 years or 4 years. Why? Because if you give them a 15-year pilot and they don't do the work after 4 years, they close up, sell the business and sell the company and take all your money. But after a 3-year period, you get to reevaluate them. You look at what they've done. You look and see if they kept their promises. And if they have, then you extend the pilot. If they have not done what they said they've done, then you call back the pilot and you force them to return the funds that they have. Or like most companies, like Electrolux and others, they packed up and left and sold the property and then took the profits.
Thank you, Mr. Collins. Ms. Coon?
See what you said, President, here? I agree with a lot with Mr. Collins just said. I think when the Shelby County Mayor has to appoint individuals on the board, we need to ensure that these people are well-versed and understand what it is that they're doing. Because it is very important that they are providing funding for these initiatives. And pilot programs are very important. And we need to ensure that we are making sure that they are held accountable. Because we don't want another Electrolux. We don't want another Service Master, because what happens is they leave and they don't pour back into the community, and then we have blight because we have these empty buildings, and that's an issue. We want to make sure that perhaps EDGE is, and I mentioned previously, they are providing funding for affordable housing, or they can make sure that small businesses are getting the loans that they need so that they can flourish. Again, we need to focus on the small businesses before we dangle the carrot to the large ones.
Thank you. Mr. Burgess.
Thank you. Of course, you know, as the assessor, my office works closely with pilots. As of today, Shelby County has over 500 pilots worth over $43 million. So they mean when our trustee collects the money, $43 million comes off the top. Let's talk about Electrolux. Electrolux left here on us which the building that they own, where there was no clawbacks, that they're giving the lease, they're leasing from XAI. Well, what happened to the $37 million? But yet we talk about abating taxes. This assessor, when I send out your assessment, I don't think we abate your taxes, do we? So that is not fair. We need to hold that edge board accountable. Yeah, of course, you're talking about hiring qualified people, but y'all know up here it's political. They're going to put people there that 9 plus 10 are not going to be qualified. So let's just tell them the truth about the EDGE program. Now, you need, like Clerk Coon said, you need pilots to attract small businesses and businesses here. But we got to hold them accountable. Make sure that the abatement piece of it, I sign off on the abatement part. That don't mean that it won't happen. But we got to make sure we're going to abate taxes. Where's this money going back to our communities? Where's it going back to the communities that look like us, some of us in this room?
Mr. Burgess.
We need to hold them accountable. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Lowry.
Thank you. So who you hire matters when it comes to this. Just like for this job and any other job, any other elected official, who you hire matters. You have to have competent people there as well that understands business, quite frankly. And again, not just in government, that's an area I know extremely well. But we need to make sure that there is provisions for these companies to hire people. So how would I measure success? That was your question. Jobs is how I would measure success. How many jobs are you creating? In fact, also what I measure success is, are you hiring people from underserved zip codes? I would also like to see some of these businesses hire people that have been justice involved as well, because we gotta give them opportunity as well, because if we don't, we're just perpetuating the same cycle over and over and over again. So it has to be some strong teeth to it. And about EDGE, what I don't like the fact that the county commission or the city council doesn't have a voting seat there. No, we there as a representative just to listen. Quite frankly, I sat on the EDGE board and I took myself off the board because I don't want to sit anywhere where I don't have a voice. And nothing else but sitting ceremonially just being in a meeting. So it doesn't make sense that the city council or the county commission doesn't have a voting say-so in EDGE. I'm going to change that. I'll be talking to the state legislator about making that change.
Thank you. Mr. Quarles.
And so that's simple for me. It seems like a lot of these questions are hitting home. You know, we always want to be able to hire somebody that's qualified, but somebody that's also caring about the community. And a lot of times when we're in those positions, people only have their own personal interests and don't have any interest when it comes to the community or our kids or anything like that. For example, I think everybody is aware some of these big box corporations are laying off people. You know, I've been a part of that at some point when it came to some of the people that I was connected to. You know, reaching out to some of the 700 people that was laid off from Nike, some of the people that was laid off from FedEx. And so the task is simple. We need to start looking at their portfolio to make sure that they really have best interest, because everybody has a track record. And if they're going to follow the same normal cadence as the other big box corporations, then we need to start holding them accountable up front. You know, are they just going to wait till kids come from school to come straight into the organization and pay them less? You know, I have fought numerous of times to get suitable pay for everybody.
Thank you, Mr. Quarles. Mr. Smiley.
Okay, a few things. One, the individuals who are appointed to the EDGE board, we want them to be well-versed. Absolutely true. But for me, I think the most important quality is how committed they are to the community. Because when these large corporations come in, they're liable to do anything to our neighborhoods. But in addition, and we've seen that happen right just so recently. But in addition to that, I know I got a couple amens here, but in addition to that, in addition to making sure they're well-versed, the question for me when I hear a large corporation coming is, will they be good corporate citizens? I know many of you have children going to schools, and those schools are in desperate need of attention. We have over $1 billion of deferred maintenance. Why not require them to adopt the school and invest in those structures? I know we're tired of our kids going to school where there may be roaches, the roof may be leaking, the building may be falling apart, but yet the $1 billion, the $1 million corporations isn't investing in our children. Under the Smiley administration, we're going to invest in schools, we're going to make sure the board members are well-versed, but ultimately care about the people.
Thank you, Mr. Smiley. Next question. For the last 15 years or so, there's been discussions around the need for a new jail in Shelby County. Do you think it's time for Shelby County to invest in a new jail? And where do you think it should be located? I'm going to start with Mrs. Coon.
Nobody wants a jail in their backyard. I understand that. And plus, we don't have $1 billion in our budget to spend on a new jail. I work at 201 Poplar, and even I don't want to be there. So it does need to be moved. And so my idea would be for it to be moved to the correction center. What we could do is we could have the state take our felony cases, which would open up the space, and we could fit that and create a jail, which is already a housing facility. We could expand on that and just, it's not a housing facility, but we need to make sure that people, that's not a revolving door and we have a high recidivism rate. We need to make sure that we are offering services within that jail because it's just not housing. We don't want to say, they're going to leave and say, well, good luck, because you know we're going to see them in a month or two. We want to make sure we're providing services for housing, addiction services, mental health services. So we need to look at the whole person. So do we need to move the jail? Absolutely. And I think corrections is probably the best location for it. But I also want to see us including technology because we need to have virtual hearings. So we don't necessarily need to have it at 201.
Thank you. Mr. Smiley, you were reaching for the mic. I'm going to let you go next. Okay, the question is, for the last 15 years or so, there's been discussion around the need for a new jail in Shelby County. Do you think it's time for Shelby County to invest in a new jail? And where do you think it should be located?
Well, let's just talk about what happens when you go to the jail, if you had an opportunity to visit the jail. Not too long ago, I went to 201 Poplar, and I went up to the top floor, and what I saw was people laying on cots, laying on the ground. If you get to the fourth floor, where people are being housed, and apologies for being so descriptive. In addition to seeing the food in the middle of the aisle, there was bodily fluid as well. If you get to the very bottom of the floor in intake, you see about 5 deputy jailers, but you see 75 inmates. The question is, what are we doing right now? We have county employees here telling you they care about people. But what about the people they're representing right now in the jail? What about the folks who are going in and out of the jail? We need to make serious investment. Don't tell me what you're going to do. Tell me what you're doing right now. We talk about how we need to improve the jail. Absolutely. But right now, the county government does not have the ability to improve the jail because they can't get a budget to pass. We need someone who's going to care about people from day one, care about the workers, and figure out a way to invest.
Mr. Smiley, do we need a new jail?
Absolutely.
Okay. Where should it be located?
Wherever the people say it should go.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Collins, next.
Number one, I think I've been on record by saying we don't need a new jail. And my reasoning is this. The Correctional Center is 102 years old, and it's functioning and working, and people are being serviced and cared and in custody out there. The issue with 201 is not the building. Mr. Smiley might be right. It is the people there, the lack of people there. There's not enough jailers to supervise the number of people in the jail, which makes it difficult to maintain the jail. I submit to you that if we did anything, we should fix the jail. One, because we don't have $1 billion to spend. And two, it would cost less than $1 billion to fix it. And case in point, the sheriff is on record by saying there are 652 doors broken in the jail. How does 652 doors get broken in one time? The sheriff gets a maintenance and operation budget. He could do that himself. We do that every day. So let's be clear about that. And about the
Thank you, Mr. Collins.
okay, thank you.
Appreciate it. Mr. Quarles, what are your thoughts on that?
And so for me, again, it's pretty straightforward. Me personally, what I see, I think it's cheaper to go up than to try to move it anywhere else because we're already talking about blight. And so that'll be another eyesore that's downtown. And so talking to some of the individuals that work down there, it's not enough people that passionately care. And so again, we had to have people that really care about each other that's down there. And so I think that, you know, going up will be a whole lot cheaper than clearing it out and trying to send it to a whole nother area. I think we have surrounding the area that can help house people until we get the maintenance upkept inside of it. And again, we have to be able to care enough about the people to be able to make changes.
Thank
Hopefully
you.
answer the question.
Thank you. Mr. Lowry and then Mr. Burgess.
Thank you. So we need to be really asking ourselves, why are our jails overcrowded in the first place? what have we done is have a culture here to making sure that people have opportunity, that we have a culture of education. That's why, again, I'm the only person here talking about pre-K. I'm the only one talking about how long-term we reduce the number of people in the jail. But the fact is, it's overcrowded, it's inhumane conditions, and it's still our responsibility. And nothing about that current facility says anything about rehabilitation. Now, why I think it's a priority, again, it's not my top priority, but I want to talk about that. But let me, thank you, I appreciate that, but let me lean in, because I'm going to be honest with you all when it comes to what we've done. I'll tell you what we've done. We've invested tens of millions of dollars in that jail just to fix doors. They asked for $5 million to fix the escalator. We said no. You know why? Because if the escalator doesn't work, doesn't it just turn into stairs? If the elevator's broke, we got to fix that. But we're not fixing escalators that's almost 40 years old, whatever it may be. The building was built 45 years ago. I think we all can agree that our population has changed in 45 years. So let me answer the question, because I'm going to answer the question.
Thank you.
I like the penal farm because we already own land
Okay.
at the penal farm. We already have a jail at the penal
Mr.
farm.
Lowry. Thank you. Mr. Burgess.
Thank you. Yep, I'm on the side of, I feel that we do need a new jail. It's a safety hazard. I mean, the resources, I mean, we can sit here and talk about what it needs, what it's going to need down the future, but we're not getting it until we try to get proper funding, not just at the state level, but at the federal level. What we can do to make that thing up to par, giving the sheriff the resources to make sure we can bring it up to par. And we sit here and talk about the culture. I was in education. I wasn't an educator, but I sat at the table, Alfred Hall, at the cabinet level, and talking about changing the culture. It's very difficult. And I understand when we talk about the kids, you know, why they're there anyway, but there's a hard fix, which it can be fixed. We got to start somewhere. But it starts with us out in this audience. It starts with tutoring. It starts with working with these young black men, which we need to be more serious about. But yes, I think we do need a new jail. Where you put the jail, of course, I heard about New Chicago, which is one of my old districts, but now I've seen where some jails are being put in areas where
Thank you,
they
Mr.
look like
Burgess.
malls. And they can
Thank you, Mr.
revitalize that neighborhood. Have you ever been to New Chicago?
Mr. Burgess, thank you. Mr. Burgess, keep the mic. This next question will start with you. County government funds education, but does not run schools, right? There are 7 school districts in Shelby County. Only one is being targeted by the Tennessee State Legislature. What is your position on what the state is recommending for oversight of Memphis and Shelby County schools, i.e. paid board to manage decisions that the elected board is currently responsible for managing?
That's a good question. I was at the cabinet level when that happened. It's called ASD. It's called Achieving School District. And I'm going to take one school that they took. We gave them the schools messed up. They gave them back to us messed up, right? Hanley Elementary School was part of ASD, right? You cannot take people that don't look like us and put them into one of our schools with all African-American kids who come from a low economic background. It keeps them apart. They don't know the parents. They don't know the culture of the neighborhood. It didn't do anything to those students. Now, if it's going to do, that did not work. ASD did not work, right? So what are they going to bring here that is going to work? It did not work. It did not help our students out. Why it always seems like our students that are at the low end of the pole come from these neighborhoods where they're not going to thrive, always doing experiments on those group of kids.
Mr. Burgess.
Why is that way?
Mr.
Right?
Burgess, thank you.
It did not work. Now, if the state
Mr.
won't do anything else,
Burgess,
they can do
thank
what they
you,
want.
Mr. Burgess, thank you. We got to keep to the 90 seconds, okay? Mr. Lowry.
Repeat the question.
Okay. So the question is, what is your position on what the state is recommending for oversight for Memphis and Shelby County schools, i.e. paid board to manage decisions that the elected board is currently responsible for managing?
Thank you. Extremely vehemently against any state involvement with our schools. Shelby Countyans should be governed by Shelby Countyans. But you also need a county mayor that's more involved in education. I don't like the current process, quite frankly. I don't know any other process in life where somebody pays for something but has no say-so on how you spend your dollars. So think for this minute. We just talked about the school system is closing 5 schools. That is detriments to communities and everything else. Now, but that's tough decisions that have to be made. But this is why I don't like the process. So the school closed and it stays there and it's blighted. and then somebody makes a decision to go talk to the superintendent or the school board and says, hey, let me buy this building for $1, or let me build all the stuff around that. Well, your tax dollars paid for the school. You should have somebody that you elect that's responsible, has a say-so in what happens to those schools, because those buildings have implications on neighborhoods. They have implications on culture. It can't just be simply that somebody buys a school.
Thank you, Mr. Lowry. I'm so sorry, 90 seconds. Mr. Quarles.
Appreciate it. So I agree with him wholeheartedly on that. I think we need to be able to take care of our own, but also there's an extension of that. We as elected official, well, they as elected official, or if I'm elected, we need to partner with the school system. So some of the things that I have done, I go inside of the schools, I talk to the kids that's making a transition from young adults to an adulthood, so they'll be able to understand what they're walking into. And so we have to be able to guide our future, because if not, they're going to fall into anything. And so we have to be able to stand up for our community, for our kids, to be able to do those type of things. And so again, for me, I think that we should take care of our own.
Thank you. Mr. Smiley?
We've already seen this story, and it turned out to be an absolute disaster for our community. Look at the Achievement School District. But in addition to that, it's not just about the inability of the state to manage our school district. It's also about the inability of this current commission to fund deferred maintenance. We want to throw all the blame on the current school board, but it's the county commission's responsibility to address deferred maintenance. And we spend a lot of time talking about these ideas, but what are we doing now? We should not be allowing the school to take over. We should be all pushing back against what we're seeing. They don't care about our community. We need to maintain local control. Quite frankly, more of us should be talking about it.
Thank you. Mr. Collins?
We spend, as taxpayers, $437 million for 8 school districts. The University of Memphis now has its own school district as well. And so for us, it is about making sure that we get the quality that we deserve. But more importantly, it is the county commission that makes the decisions about funding. And it is our administration that has pushed back on the school board on votes. Particularly, our administration vetoed a vote on the county commission to override the people's vote for the school board. That vote was overridden by the county commission by one single vote. Then a judge rules that the county commission was out of order. And so what you gotta have is good people who serve and understand to make good decisions before they try to excel to other leadership positions. That's where we need to be fighting for.
Thank you, Mr. Collins. Give me 1 second. Let's get through and then I'll get to you. Ms. Kuhn?
The nexus of success for Shelby County is education. It all starts with education, and I am adamantly against a state takeover. We need to be partnering with the board and talking about universal pre-K. We need to be talking about mental health programs for children. We need to be talking about illiteracy rate and testing rates in the schools. We have a real problem. And these schools closing probably needed to happen, but the conversation needs to continue as to what we're going to do with those schools, because we don't want them to be blight. So my idea was, let's retrofit those buildings, perhaps creating apartments for individuals who are aging out of foster care, who have nowhere to go, or reentry programs. So it's all about education. It starts there, it ends there, and we need to move on it.
Thank you, Ms. Kuhn. Mr. Lowry, you wanted to refute?
Yeah,
45 seconds.
Thank you. I just want to address something here, because I don't know if the question was answered about the state involvement from that, but it did reference some things as far as making tough decisions. And I stand on that. I've made tough decisions. People tell you what they will do. I've taken it on the chin and done what I think is best for our community. So let's just back up a little bit. When there was a vote of no confidence that was brought for the school board, I'm the only person that said that was a bad thing, that we shouldn't be telling the legislative body if they're making a good decision or a bad decision. That's not the county commission's job. I'm also the only county commissioner that tried to push those things out to 2030. I'm also the only county commissioner that tried to put a recall provision in place, and it also failed. So it got to the point where this came to be a contentious issue in our community. And if I said it should be handled by the courts. It shouldn't be
Thank
this
you, Mr.
determination of
Lowry.
this body. And I'm glad we respect the court's decision, but I'm glad the
Thank
courts
you, Mr.
took it up.
Lowry. Appreciate it. Mr. Burgess, did you have
I
something?
just want to say two things. I know I hear about qualifications and, about the schools or whatever, but of course, for the last 2 or 3 years, I know county government overspent their fund balance, so they had to go borrow money to balance their budget. That's number one. Number two is say this: schools closed because of the migration, because a school is just like a business. You got so many principals, cafeteria workers. It has to match up with the money per ADA, which is in the classroom. It's called average daily attendance. Don't y'all know, as the assessor, we're losing 2,000 Shelby counters a year? That's how many we're losing. People are moving out of the county. My kids ain't coming back here to work. Are your kids coming back here to work? So we have a problem here. Education is a problem, but that's why schools closed. We need schools in East Memphis too, because they're busting at the seams still.
45 seconds.
East Memphis, right? So that's why schools closed, because I know it's a hard decision, like Commissioner Lowry said.
Thank
But we
Mr.
gotta
Burgess. Thank you. 45 seconds,
It
Mr.
won't take
Collins.
30. It won't take 30. Two things. Number one, the county commission overspent the budget because it is the county commission's responsibility to allocate resources. And number two, both of my daughters moved back to Memphis. They went to school out of town. They came back home because they loved their community. They wanted to make investments, and that's what we've done.
Thank you. I want to make sure I get a question in from the Shelby County Voter Alliance. And Ian, we wrap up at 7, right? Okay, so let me get this question in. Many eligible voters lack reliable transportation to vote. As county mayor, will you commit to increase funding for public transit and voter access for transportation, such as raising annual transit investment to reduce a major barrier to the civic participation? Let's start with Mr. Smiley. Yes, sir. Many eligible voters lack reliable transportation to vote. As county mayor, will you commit to increase funding for public transit and voter access for transportation, such as raising annual transit investment?
So currently, right now, Matt is switching to a model to allow for free fare. But I don't think that gets us where we need to go. I think the way of the future is getting to a place where we can have regional transportation, when all of the municipalities participate in public transit. After all, if we connect people to jobs, we're addressing poverty, but not only are we addressing poverty, we're addressing crime. I think that's what we all want. People want good jobs, be able to get to and from work or places of fun, but most importantly, they want to feel safe in their homes and their community. Transportation connects people all around our community, and we need people investing in transportation, each and every municipality, not just the city of Memphis, not just the county, but Millington Arls and other municipalities as well.
Thank you, Mr. Smiley. Mr. Collins?
I think early on in our tenure, we proposed a resolution to the county commission to be a part of funding matter, somewhere to the tune of about $300,000. And the county commission approved it. But the caveat was for Matter and the city of Memphis to agree to give the Shelby County a board seat, which they declined. And so we were in negotiations about trying to get that seat so that they could get the $300,000, because we recognize that transit is important in Shelby County. We recognize the importance of people not having adequate transportation to get to and from jobs. This person, when I'm elected county mayor, will continue to look for ways to provide transit opportunities for Shelby Countyans. That's what we will do.
Thank you, Mr. Collins. Ms. Coon?
Transportation is just not a city of Memphis issue. This is a Shelby County issue. And unfortunately, we have not had a seat at the table, and we do not fund MATA. But I agree that we could do that. But we also need the city to dedicate some funding perhaps for us for education. It is very important that we look at transportation for people to be able to get to and from jobs. At one time, it was concentrated because individuals lived in areas in which transportation was much easier, and it's not now. We are so spread out. So to answer the question, for voters, I would love to see that. I would love to see something like other cities are doing, in which they have like Uber pickup with vans. we could implement something like that to be able to make sure that individuals are getting the polls to vote.
Thank you. Mr. Smiley,
Absolutely. Just to respond
45 seconds, and then I've got to get to everybody else.
just to respond very directly. Right now, the city of Memphis is the only entity funding pre-K. Because right now, the pre-K funding bill is sitting right in the county administration's unsigned.
All right, Mr. Burgess.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I mean, transportation, I mean, we know the reason why it's the way it is now because certain people want certain people to sit on that board. That's what that's about. So you're trying to tell me that public transportation is not important in the inner city? I got 4 homes over in New Chicago. Can't get them rented because either one, a person can't catch the bus to go to work at 3 in the morning, and number 2, Ms. Jones said she couldn't do it no more. Ms. Jones said she go to the grocery store, Cash Savers in Whitehaven, come back, her ice cream is melted. So she can't even get back home for her groceries. But yet we sit up here and talk about affordable housing, we talk about jobs. How they gonna get there? They gonna crawl to work? How they gonna get there? We're not serious about that. If they would have been fixed, it would have been fixed. Yeah, we're gonna bring companies and jobs here, but how you gonna get to work? You gonna crawl to work? No, you're gonna catch your Uber. You got money to pay for an Uber? So are we serious about it? No, we're not serious about that. It would have been fixed. But yet, these are people that we talk about.
Mr.
We're gonna try to
Burgess.
rejuvenate.
Thank you, Mr. Burgess. Mr. Lowry.
Any thriving community has a robust transportation system. We have to have it. And I agree, just because we're running for the same office, we can agree, we got to stop operating our silos. It can't just be one issue, one entity's problem. However, I don't like the system. Sometimes you got to slow down and speed up. Matters should be concerned with how do we get people to and from jobs. Where are rapid lines? Where can we decrease some lines? And where do we, quite frankly, we have to slow some things down? People don't want to hear that. But if we don't, somebody's going to come disrupt that industry. Just like someone came and disrupted the taxi industry. Just like someone came around and disrupted the hotel industry. If we don't fix that, some private organization is going to come in and try to disrupt public transportation as well. So I want to see that the county has a seat at the table. It does need board seats for the governance at the end of the day. But also, too, we got to get out of our silos. Ian, you may remember, we were working with the Memphis Housing Authority Board, but a lot of you may know we used to have a Shelby County Housing Authority Board as well. We got rid of the Shelby County Housing Authority Board. We combined them because we found some efficiencies.
Thank
we
you,
got to
Mr.
find some
Lowry.
efficiencies in our funding as well. Thank you.
Appreciate it. Mr. Quarles.
Yes, thank you. And so for me, I think we do need to put some of those funds there, but not just to data dump, because some of this money that's going towards transportation is disappearing mysteriously. You know, but I just echo what I hear from the community. When I'm trying to board public transportation, the system or the scheduling is still 20, 30 years old. How do we shift that more towards technology? You know, we got technology at the tip of our fingers now. Can they book a board and to be able to get on those public transportation just like a Uber? Could we have some of those things in consideration too, where we know how many seats are on there, how many people are trying to get to work? Can we make it a little bit more convenient for the people and not just for ourselves?
So as we wrap up and we close out and we provide your two-minute closings, I'd like you to think about and respond to, if elected, what would success look like for Shelby County 4 years from now as a part of your closing remarks? Mr. Quarles, we'll start with you.
And so for success for me would look like is unity across the bridge. I know we had asked a question about, you know, working with Republicans and things of that nature. But I think we all just need to come together, and like I always say, it's not about me, it's not about you, it's about the people. Can we put our own personal differences aside and help each other? Because when we look at helping each other, we always have one statement, especially when it comes to a child. It takes a community to raise a child. That's true up to a certain extent. For me, it takes a healthy community to raise a healthy child. Until we come together and be able to have a healthy community for our kids and for our family, then we will not have a healthy community.
Thank you so much, Mr. Lowry.
Thank you. And while I appreciate the question, I'm not running for success in the next 4 years. I'm running for the success in the next 40. I want to talk about what we're going to look like from a generation from now at the end of the day. I want to see a Shelby County that's thriving, a Shelby County that's treating everyone with respect, a Shelby County where you can send your child to a free educational system and have all the resources that they provide. A Shelby County that's looking at all of our students, no matter where they fit on any spectrum, and that have the opportunity to succeed. A Shelby County where jobs are created for our high school students. A Shelby County where our collegiate population continues to grow, because that's also the other sign of a thriving city, where you have a collegiate population that is thriving. Some place where we all feel safe, some place where safety is, and some place where we can all retire with dignity, with more money in our pockets. So 4 years from now, I'll be looking to see us continue to fund pre-K, to make it universal, but my success will be when my daughters say, "Thank you, Dad, for the environment you helped create."
Thank you, Mr. Lowry. Mr. Burgess.
Yes, thank you. So my success would say, or would be, that we all know when we drive east, the city divides at Highland. And we all know that, right, for the most part. So until we share the wealth and it's equitable for everyone, right, this county will always be chasing its tail around in circles because it's not equally distributed. What we need is bold leadership. We need people going to speak up and say it's not the right thing to do. But people are not speaking up. The leadership that we've had in place at the top that can make decisions do not show up. They do not speak out. We can all sit up here and give you all this jargon about the jail, about Regional 1, about blight, all the above. I promise you, some of the things that you're going to go back to your community, you're going to see the same things that probably up here we have been promising for years. But until we change that mentality, until we speak up, we got to be bold and speak up. And that's what my campaign is about, bold leadership, right? I can walk away. I can be through. But Memphis is in my heart. Whether you know me or not, I care about Shelby County and the people that live in Shelby County.
Thank you, Mr. Burgess.
Thank you all.
Thank you,
Vote
Mr.
Melvin
Burgess.
Shelby
Thank
County.
you. Ms. Coon. That's my neighbor, y'all.
I love Shelby County. It has provided me with a lot. I raised my 4 children here. They have all gone to school in public schools here. It gave me a second chance to get remarried, and it gave me a great career for over 26 years. But I believe that the people of Shelby County are working hard, but they don't believe that government is working for them. And we need a change. And I want to instill that hope back into Shelby County. Hope for a more beautiful Shelby County. How many of you remember at that time when we used to be one of the most beautiful cities? Hope for a safer Shelby County. Hope for healthier Shelby County. I don't know about you, but I am tired of being at the top of the list for the most negative things. I want to change that around. Some of you may have heard me say in regard to expungements that just because you have a past doesn't mean you can't have a future. And I believe that for Shelby County. We have a past. We are currently dealing with issues, but we have a future. And I want to lead that future. And I want to bring back hope. And I don't mean hope like this.
Thank you, Ms.
I mean
Coon.
hope with action.
Thank you.
Vote Heidi Kuhn.
Thank you, Ms. Coon. Mr. Collins.
Thank you to the NAACP, Shelby County Voter Alliance, and the Coalition of 100 Black Women, and to you, Madam Chair, for being with us this evening. When I think about what success looks like for Shelby County, I think about all of our children being able to go to school healthy on day one, because we know that most of our kids don't make it until 30 days after. That's why we do a health fair on the last day of July every year to ensure that. What I think about is walking in a school where they're challenged by the technology on the walls, able to do real serious work like their counterparts across our county. That's why we're building a school in North Memphis, so those children can be able to walk in places and be excited about school. What I think about is all of our community leaders and people with good paying jobs.
Thank you, Mr.
Because
Collins.
Shelby County is a place where you can live
Thank you,
and
Mr.
work
Collins.
and enjoy your time. Thank you so very
Thank you,
much.
Mr. Collins.
Harold Collins for Shelby County Mayor.
Mr. Smiley.
Imagine a Shelby County where young people can go outside knowing there's with hope and endless possibilities. Imagine a Shelby County where young people can go in school and know when they go to school, they get a good education, good quality education. Imagine a Shelby County that requires people only to work one job, so they can come back home and spend time with their children. Imagine a Shelby County when you reach the later years of your life, you're able to retire with dignity. Imagine a Shelby County where our leaders are not afraid to speak up about the injustices we see in our community. Now, that is the community I am fighting for every single day. But I'm not naive enough to believe that we're going to get to that point without understanding that we must stand up to Donald Trump. We must stand up to the state when they try to subject our community to the most harmful policies. I'm ready to fight right now.
Smiley.
J.B. Smiley Jr.,
Thank you,
Shelby
Mr.
County
Smiley.
Mayor.
Let's give all of our candidates a round of applause. I want to thank this wonderful audience for engaging in this very important civic conversation. Shelby County's future depends on informed voters and accountable leadership. Please remember to vote and stay engaged, and if you're not a member of the NAACP, join us. Our Executive Director, Vicki Terry, has a few words.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you all so much. Thank you, Pastor Taylor, for allowing us to come into your beautiful establishment here. Your church is beautiful. Thank you, Springdale. I want to thank all of our panelists, okay? I was going to say all of our mayors, but you know what? I want to thank all of you for participating. I want to thank the community for coming out today. You all have made, us feel so special because you came to this wonderful event. Thank you, NAACP Executive Committee members. Thank you, Shelby County Voter Alliance. Thank you, 100 National Coalition of 100 Black Women as well. Make sure we get out of here as quick as we can because they do have choir rehearsal, okay? So that's why we're on a schedule. So we want to make sure you all get out of here as quickly as possible. Thank you. Hey, let me have your attention. Let me have your attention, please. On March 26th, we will have another forum for the sheriffs on March 26th. We will let you know where we will be holding that, okay? Thanks again. Thank you all so much.